You are watching part 7 of my Radical Plants vs Zombies 2 Potatoes Only series. Last time we put our best efforts into the Jurassic Marsh, which was surprisingly not too bad, even though some dinosaurs were a pain in the ass, and we prehistorically shredded through everyone with our brand new Primal Potato Mine. But now we only have 2 worlds remaining, and you guys know that the entirety of Big Wave Beach is an actual shithole. How will I beat these levels if I can't place potato mines on water? Well, you'll just have to sit here and find out, because spoiler alert, this was really fucking difficult. So sit back and enjoy. Alright, let's run this shit. Day 1, here we go. Immediately you can see that I'm unable to place potato mines on water. I also cannot place them on lily pads.
Goddamn lily pad, god.
So the ones that are pre-planted for us just act as small meat shields. And because I can't kill anything until the zombies are pretty much at my door, it makes these levels drag on for far too long. Sometimes even like 8 to 10 minutes. Day 1 was what you expected, set in stone, so let's move on. Day 2 was more or less the same, except with added zombies, and oh my god, it was so slow. The only plant out of my arsenal that I can place on lily pads is the sweet potato. And believe me, this will not only just help, but will be mandatory for beating certain levels. Just you wait. Day 3 is our first conveyor level, and the main plant we get to use is the Chomper, which surprisingly got buffed as it swallows 2 zombies instead of 1, before chewing for the next 8,000 years. And that just makes it so much better. And because of this, Day 3 was like taking candy from an imp. Or should I say, chewing. Not a lot happened on Day 4, besides the introduction of another world gimmick being Low Tide. It spawns a bunch of zombies, but also helps us out a lot by giving us more room to place stuff. So it's a double-edged sword. With our premium level arsenal though, we can make it work. Behold, the most pointless and uninspired level in Plants vs Zombies 2 award goes to... Day 5, Big Wave Beach. It's a conveyor level this late into the game, but our only plants are pea shooters and walnuts. Yeah. I don't know what they were cooking with this, but it was easy as shit and very boring. Good job. Day 6, we must survive with the most plants picked for us, which is such a mid as fuck objective because all it does is limits our options. But either way, I chose the big 3 to bring with me. It was a reasonably high tide for most of the level, but because of that, they take forever to reach me, so I can very easily spam place a bunch of mines and just wait. Also, the snorkel zombies make their appearance, but more on them later. Day 7 isn't even remotely funny, because this was one of the most challenging things I've ever done in my life. It may look simple at first glance, then you realize something. The tide expands throughout the entire stage. And remember, potatoes count as underground plants, so they cannot be placed on lily pads or water, which means in situations like this, I have only one option, and that is to plant sweet potatoes on the pre-placed lily pads to try and stall out time. Doing this strategy, it does work, but I have to lure the zombies in such a way that as little lawnmowers get used as possible. I must note that the water doesn't get filled until the first wave, so I have little time to use stuff like Levitator to get some early kills. You're probably thinking, surely Sweet Potato doesn't stall out for the entire second half of the level, and yes, you'd be right, if it wasn't for this one thing that saves us from this being impossible. That one thing being plant food. You see, plant fooding Sweet Potato will not only regenerate it back to full HP, but because it's placed on a lily pad, the lily pad plant food comes into play as well, giving me more room to place down more stalls. Doing so, I can use this to my advantage to strategically guide all the zombies that are on screen, guiding them into a single file row to maximize and conserve the rate at which my mowers get used. Utilizing this strategy, I had 2 mowers go off right as the final wave arrived, meaning I had 1 left. This lily pad right here came in huge clutch, as I was able to chain lure these 2 zombies right up to the top lane, and the stars aligned so incredibly well, it took a couple hours for me to pull this off. And don't let it fool you, because this won't be the first level like this that has me shitting bricks and bricking shits. Time to relax on day 8 because it's bowling time. As much as we'd all rather use walnuts, it doesn't matter because these types of levels are quite enjoyable, even if it means we must use our balls to defeat zombies. I like the electric one the most because it explodes. Day 9 wasn't too bad either. The mold colonies gave me less space than I already had. I can very easily just place 1 potato mine in each available space. What's funny is that there were 4 waves and I didn't even have to use CDMs to beat this. Yeah, I don't know what else to say, it just wasn't that hard. Day 10 is yet another inspiring conveyor level that consists of pea shooters and bowling balls. This level is annoying because the snorkel guys dodge everything. No one cares, let's move on. Day 11 introduces us to the surfer zombies. And yeah, they're a pain. They only place a surfboard if the potato mines aren't primed up. If this happens, only the primal potato mine can blow up the surfboards. Trying to stall them out will also pose as a challenge. A plan your defense stage on day 12, and this was fun. Because of the nature of last stand levels, the zombies typically rush you down all at once, and because I have limited space to plant stuff, I opted to use a setup that consists of levitators and sweet potatoes. The abundance of surfer zombies made this come quite close, as they are pretty fast and they one-shot plants, but all was good. Not only is day 13 a max tide level, but we can't lose more than 27 plants, and it's a produce sun level. And would you believe me if I told you I actually beat this on my first try? Yeah, I have small windows of opportunity where the tide gets low to place down levitators and or teleportato mines. But when the water goes back, I have no other choice but to stall with sweet potato. I haven't mentioned this yet, but the snorkel zombies are completely unaffected by a levitator and teleportato if they are submerged in water. That's just how they work. Not a game breaker, but still annoying. The final wave, I only had 2 mowers left, and I was lucky enough to have a low tide, meaning I could spam place everything until I won. Survived with the given plants on day 14, and yeah, I had trouble here for some reason. Bowling bulbs aren't exactly the most reliable thing in the world, and combine that with getting rushed by everything and shit, you really think the chomper is gonna be of any help? Nah man, I only got sunflowers. I'm trying to rush out chompers and lily pads are too expensive. I don't know how, maybe I'm just bad, but I lost all my mowers and only won by a little bit. You can just take one look at day 15 and say, yeah, this is fucked. We must protect our precious potato mines. I'm unable to place anything in front of them, so I have no choice but to use levitator. Because the levitator is OP, its sheer kill power is enough to make the tide not really matter too much. The tide dropping only means I can kill stuff quicker. There was just one slight thing that had me worried. I said before that the snorkel zombies are unaffected by levitator, so there is no way I can defeat them. Well, lucky enough, the millisecond they emerge from water, the levitator can detect them before the endangered potato mines. So fortunately, this level was very doable, and to wrap it up with the hectic last wave, yeah, this was pretty enjoyable. Day 16 is yet another shitty conveyor belt level that has us using bowling bulbs and chomper. We must survive without lawnmowers, and for whatever reason, I just suck and lost a few times. I'm gonna blame the plants because I don't like them. Yeah, this made me more depressed than a Silksong fan. Never mind, they just dropped 2 seconds of footage in the Nintendo Direct. Good job, guys. I'm happy for you. Day 17 introduces us to everyone's favorite, the Octo Zombie. Underground or not, they will not hesitate to cover up my mines with their hentai tentacles. Yeah, these guys are the worst because potato mines take forever to charge up, so unless I have plant food, I can't really take them out reliably. And because I could hardly get anything out on the field, it was a very close finish towards the end. Day 18 is better than your average conveyor level, which isn't really hard to beat. And that is because we make use of the Guacodile. This is among my favourite plant in the game because they shoot little seeds and once zombies get too close, they go apeshit and mow them down like the hungry bitches that they are. It's the only attack plant that we get, so combine that with the sheer number of zombies that show up, it is very satisfying to shred through them all at once. Day 19 is similar to the one we just played before. Limited space, and annoying octo zombies. I recall mentioning in a previous video that the hot potato can melt through octopus, but that requires leveling up, which is against the rules that I have set. So sadly I don't get to showcase that in this challenge. Yeah, can you tell that I'm just trying to yap about random stuff because it's difficult to talk about key moments in some of these levels because nothing ever happens? I'm sure that will change. Ah, shit. Alright, day 20 kinda sucked. And that is because it was yet another max tide level. For the longest time, I can have 2 levitators at the back slowly taking out threats whilst also stalling. Only problem with this is that the snorkel zombies are unaffected, and I have to do this until the tide drops. When this happens, you would think it would be a good thing, but not really, because you have surfboards and octopi griefing your entire area. However, I do have a solution to this, which is just as simple as using teleportato mine, as it charges quick and has huge kill power. When the final wave hits, the tide gets flooded, so I'm basically stuck in limbo. Just before that happens, a lot of zombies rush in. It is very important none of your mowers get wasted, because it is crucial for the end. As you can see right here, I know that I'm safe, even if one mower was gone. I would still have to try and lure them over to a different lane with sweet potato otherwise, but the octo zombies cover lily pads. I think the small moments I could place teleportato early on really came in clutch for me to do this, to be honest. Day 21 is what, my 100th conveyor belt level? It was kinda mid, I can't lie. It was just a row of homing thistles chipping away at surfboard zombies. Yeah, that was basically it. Screw homing thistle though, I believe in cattail supremacy. Day 22 was fine, just your average somewhat difficult late game level. Only this time the fisherman zombie makes their debut. They aren't too threatening, unable to hook underground plants, but if anything dares to touch a lily pad, then it's kinda Jova for it. Funniest part about this is that I have zero way of ever killing the fishermen, because they're always just chilling at the back. But once every zombie is cleared out, thankfully they die automatically. Day 23 was very, very tricky. Protecting endangered plants on levels that have limited space for me to place stuff is hard, but 4 large waves and every type of zombie is really what made this challenging. But worst of all are those fishermen. The entire level they will attempt to drag your endangered plants into water. You guys might not like me for this, but I actively chose to use the banana launcher to take them out. Not only is this the only way I can deal with them, but other endangered plant levels have plants attacking zombies automatically, so I think this is fair game. I was utilizing escape route to move the banana launchers to a safer spot, whilst levitators were taking out zombies, which worked for a while. I always found myself getting overwhelmed or pelted by a surfboard. On the attempt that I beat this, I clutched so hard by using plant food on my launcher before it was going to get dragged into the water, and by sheer luck actually killing it. Stressful, but interesting. Very good level. Day 24 we go bowling again. It was as fun and somehow as challenging as it was before. Enough said, they're the same level. Moving on. Day 25 was very strange. We must kill 10 zombies in 5 seconds. An objective we haven't seen since like the Pirate Seas. How the hell has it been a whole year since part 1? That objective is easy because there are a crap ton of zombies and potatoes are AoE. The final wave was what killed me. There were so many octo zombies and gargantuas, but we locked in and bombed our way through. Day 26 is another fucking conveyor belt level. We must use banana launchers this time. Which is cool I guess, but tapping on so many launchers and choosing where they land basically the entire level is low-key kinda boring, and very easy. Not much else to say. Day 27 was just straight up ridiculous. We must survive with the most plants picked for us, and it was a max tide. The water was everywhere throughout the level, so I had no choice but to stall and use all my lawnmowers until the tide drops. Once this happens, I can blitz through everything as I have a lot of room. That is, until the end. The tide raises, I have 0 mowers, and I'm getting griefed by a whole row of fishermen. No matter what I do, this level is impossible. My objective on day 28 is to not lose more than 5 plants. As always, that just means I spam levitators and hope for the best. And hey look, we're already done. Day 29 is impossible. Max tide and a last stand level. The only thing I can do is place sweet potatoes on the lily pads and pray. This isn't going to work. You see, the surfer zombies just ride past my defenses and triggering my mowers. Nothing I can do. But another huge problem is that my only plants that can be on the field just get nullified by the octo zombie, so I'm in complete idle. There are small windows where the tide drops and I can place down a few stuff, but that just doesn't matter. Towards the end, I need to be able to place teleportator to destroy everything that gets close. And if you didn't know, teleportator always teleports the 4 closest zombies. However, if the zombies have already passed the lawn, then they will not get teleported. I need to be able to stall until this tide drops, but my walls just keep getting covered by octopus. And I have no plant food remaining, so the exact same thing will just keep happening. Maybe with precise plant food timing to maximize stalling time could make it so the tide drops before the zombies breach the lawn, but I've tried this for such a long time and can't seem to beat it, so I will mark this as impossible. Nothing so far has prepped me for the absolute hell that is day 30. And that is because it is such an evil idea for a level that it makes me want to smash a glass bottle over my head. We must protect a whole row of endangered plants. We have room to place stuff, so what's the problem? Well, it's these goddamn motherfucking fishermen. The way that they interact with guacodiles is different. Instead of pulling them closer, they will enrage them, causing me to lose the level instantly. If one shows up, I have no choice but to place a sweet potato to block them. There was such a routine-based strategy here. Blow up everything at the start, have teleportator kill the first fisherman with everyone else, and when the water rises, I'm basically just stalling. But as the level goes on, more and more fishermen show up. It's not all bad as long as I prep, because they do die eventually. Once I was getting the strategy down, I knew I could do this. I got to the 3rd wave and died to a gargantua. However, right as I lose, boom. Did you see that? A whole row of fishermen. There is absolutely no way I can block them off in time. I'm confident in saying that this is impossible. I don't even have enough sun to rush out defenses like that. Plant food was key to dealing with the fishermen, but plant fooding a guacodile doesn't even kill them. Yeah, this isn't happening. Day 31, we must survive with the given plants. Yawn. You just sit there and spam homing thistles until you win. It is so strange to me that the level before the boss fight is so consistently mid. They do this in like every world, I swear. Just before we get to the boss fight though, there is something I must revisit. In the first episode, there was a level that I could not do way back in the Pirate Seas. This shitty one that is just nothing but cannon imps. And in that video, I said this.
I don't know, it's probably doable with the Primal Potato Mine, but as of now, it is without a doubt impossible.
Jesus Christ, that mic is horrible. I don't know how y'all watch that. Well, how does Primal Potato Mine match up? Better. We can at least reach the final wave this time. Teleportato helps out a bit more though, I can't lie. I was actually thinking I could do it, however, and this is a big however, I ran out of sun. Yeah, this will remain uncleared. Now that we're at the boss fight, it's business as usual, a mid as fuck conveyor level. We have high damaging plants, so it's even easier than the other ones. But I've already bitched about how much the boss fights suck ass in this game, so let's just not. Well, that's it. Arguably the most difficult world is finally complete. I have to say, this was more on the fun sides of the game for this challenge. And guys, we are almost there. One more to go. Modern Day might be better or worse than Big Wave Beach, but we'll see. If you have made it this far into the series, then thanks. I'm not sure what I'll do when I'm finally finished, but I have a few ideas. Comment down below if you want to see me stream the finale, because I would be more than happy to do so. But anyway, that's it from me. Like, subscribe, comment, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.